Greetings. I'm Jim, and this is Torment, Tides of Numenera. Hi! Hello! Hello, Origami Shuriken. This is... Yes, for the first time he decided to do a proper intro for just a few seconds, and then it all fell apart. That's how this goes. Hey, welcome to Stream of Consciousness. That's really what this is. That's what all of these are, really, if one thinks about it. Sadly, James Joyce, I am not. Or actually, thankfully, James Joyce, I am not, depending on which side of the room you're standing. Anyway, what am I doing? Getting back into this, we're going to play for a little bit, like an hour or so. And continue our adventures in the Bloom. In the world of Numenera. About something like 4 billion years in the future, if I recall correctly. And, as one being goes on a quest for their identity once again. Finding out terrible, terrible things about people who... the person who manufactured him and several other people. Hi. How's it going? People. Oh yes, that's right. We slept. The joys of sleeping. We actually got to rest last time, which is delightful. We are all well rested, which was awesome, and we will do things. Hello. Rest. Oh Lucas, hello. Hi. Yes, I don't know. I've heard about this delightful thing called rest, and it's apparently it's this time when your consciousness is not with you. So I'm not sure it exists because I'm never awake to see it. So I don't know. It's hard to observe that state by yourself. But no, this is Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is the spiritual successor to the to Torment Planescape Torment from ages ago. I know.
I'm feeling this place wants to nibble.
It does. It does hurt us. Okay. And this is kind of the final arc of this game. I was playing it for a while, and then I stopped for like a year and a half, and now I'm trying to finish it. Basically.
I'm ready.
And this is we're in the this sort of, it's about like 1 billion years in the future. We're at a place that's sort of outside of this city, the city of Sega's Cliffs, where we were hanging out. This place called the Bloom, which exists in a big sort of fleshy thing that has been created. So whether I finish Numenera before we finish Saltmaw? No, I'm not going to take that bet. I don't think there's any way in hell I'm going to finish this before we finish Saltmaw. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. It takes so long. Also, I just realized I need to turn on these. Let me go ahead and do that. And there we go. Content warnings are now available. Because there's a great deal of like body horror and stuff like that, and just general biological horror in this game, and people ought to know. But back to this. I'm going to head over and explore the area, Little Nihliesh, that area that we hadn't finished exploring before since we were there. I just want to go around and look at it and see what people are there and figure things out. Yeah, yes, there's a great deal of the bio, a great deal of the squish, and
Let's go.
so that is not for everyone. I'm okay. But there have been bits that I've been just sort of little troubled by, but it's all right. I do need to go in there and check that out, but I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do that on my way back. I'm gonna check this out first, methinks. Probably, unless perhaps it will be helpful to do this first. I'm not sure. Wait, indecision. Let me look at my journal. It's just a nice relaxing flesh cavern, that's right, you know. Not gonna Yep. So let's see, rumblings of discontent is missing patrols, we've already done some of that. Are there any trains in this game? Sadly, no trains in this game. The game that has trains in it is not one that I am playing a game that has trains in it. I'm not actually currently streaming the game that has trains in it. Well, actually, yes, also City Skylines has trains in it, but we haven't gotten to those yet. But I also started recently playing Unrailed a little bit. And I'm still trying to... It's a co-op game, and I'm not used to those, so I'm having to figure out how to do things with people. And so once I figure that out, then there may be... I don't know, I might stream it at some point. But we'll see, we'll see. This game, sadly, no trains. You know, there are vehicles, I guess, that we're going to examine a vehicle in a little bit. Let's see. And I will geek out about Unrailed at some point later because I'm just getting into it now, and of course it's like I want to play with it a lot, but I will wait and try to find more people to play it with. But let's see. No, Eridus, we need to help him find some sort of doctor or something else, and that's also, I think, a thing that's going to happen in here. Servant of the Tides, there's a weird person somewhere in the bloom I think we need to talk to. Different from the weird people we've already talked to. Being from beyond this reality, open through a gate in a man's body. That's coming. Let's see. Marooned on an alien shore, we have to find a maw that leads to Anchorage, Alaska. No, wait, wrong. It leads to the Lost Anchorage, the place where they are, and no quests about trains as far as I can tell, but maybe soon. We don't know. Tyver, we have to go and find and chat with, and apparently is supposed to bring back to Dracogen. Anathema. This is the one that takes place in that little area that I was just looking at. Oh God, no. The trains. I mean, you can make trains out of anything, I suppose. It's possible. The experiments of a Varjellan researcher are happening, and they don't like the fact that that's happening. I mean, we're right here. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and go in and say hi. See who this is. After we've finished our running animation. Spend XP to advance your characters. XP is gained mostly from... Okay. Person running around. There's Yoxu. There are things in here. I'm not going to interact with them yet, but soon. The top of this machine is covered in glass lenses. I can read. It's covered in glass lenses of varying shapes. It appears to be some kind of monitoring device. Doesn't seem at all bothered that we're in here. Text and symbols flash across the screen, all of it meaningless to you. Lines swoop and whirl across the leathery sheet, depicting what appears to be a map. Ooh. On the shelves, you see a few discarded notes and old books. A rack of test tubes sits alone and forgotten, overgrown with bloom flesh. These tanks contain floating blobs of plant or algal matter. They could serve as a basic but unpleasant food source. And... oh! We had a construct, not unlike that. I will not interact yet with the things... Wait, what's this? This construct is equipped with innumerable monitoring devices. Okay. So we will not go... Ooh, wait. Inside this device is a sizable lump of bloom flesh. It lies upon a comfortable-looking cushion and appears to be asleep. Okay. Well, before we touch things, we're going to talk to this Varjellan. Varjellan are one of a number of alien species. It's like 4 billion years in the future, so alien species have come and gone from Earth. Why are there humans here? We don't know. That's actually one of the mysteries. They weren't here for a very long time, and now they're back for some reason. Hi. Sir, there's been a noise complaint. This Varjellan looks much like others of its kind. Violet red skin, yellow eyes, a tall crest atop its head. This one appears to have chosen a male form for now. He wears thin lenses over his eyes, and some strange device encircles his head, with weighted attachments dangling at the ends of long snaps. His calloused, pointed fingertips are stained, and his garments are unkempt and in disarray. He looks impatiently at you as you interrupt his work, his eyes snapping between you and the door. His crest inflates with irritation. The interruptions continue. What would you have of Yaxel? Why do you keep looking at the door? I would like some questions answered. The Bloom cultists outside want you to stop your experiments. Why do you keep looking at the door? He sighs. Apologies from me. The noise and constant interruption from these outside are inconducive, he says, to proper behavior. They have been escalating their discussions toward violence.
I'll remember that.
Apparently we're going to remember that. The experiments conducted within this chamber are perhaps unlikely to gain the favor of the Bloom indeed. The great beast has evinced some displeasure. Its pathetic worshippers who gather here to mock have begun seeking ways to stop me, an effort to appease their deity. He gives you a hopeful look. I would reward anyone who can drive them off. It only shows I am doing something worthy. True knowledge risks danger. Oh, great. As is usual in a lot of these conflicts, no one is right, per se. There are a lot of questions. In a lot of these conflicts, not necessarily all of them, but anyway. He glances behind you for the first time and recoils visibly on seeing Matkina. Can it be? Stories have circulated. They said you were dead, that the Numenera had found you at last. Matkina smiles grimly. Not yet. I'm surprised to see you're still alive, Yotsu. I wouldn't have wagered on it. Why didn't you tell me you know this guy? Anyway. The Varjellan bows. The White Death honors me. Stories of your prowess continue. In the meantime, I abide, gathering and learning, even in the face of the protesters outside. He shrugs. But knowledge has always had its detractors. They will do what they must. As long as my work lives on, I care not. He turns his head from side to side, seeing you with both his eyes. What would you have of me? Well... Let's start with what sort of work do you do here? Tell us about yourself. Look, smell, taste, measure, understand. Though his voice is flat, you can see the pleasure in his face. Apprehension is the key to knowledge. The Bloom is a creature unlike any other, yet who has taken the time to study its nature. The first is Yaxu. The work done here will illuminate the Bloom for those who follow. For decades have I been here. Physical structure, biological needs, behavior, mental construction, known history of the beast, history of its inhabitants. All of these things I gathered. Where does it originate? I believe a twin star holds the answer, a place of howling winds and immense gravity. Fear tells me that this creature is not yet mature, that the years will see its size increase. To what purpose? Destruction, consumption, ascension? I fear I will never know. Reality blends around the Bloom, its ways twist and turn, but even where stability is assumed, the Bloom's presence resists understanding. It resists mapping. This is the importance of my work, to make secrets known so that all may benefit. I don't know why I've decided that all aliens are played by Max von Sydow, but apparently. No, anyway. That's a terrible Max von Sydow, but anyway. Not that I was trying for that, but it sounds like it, sort of, to me. Anyway, I'm going to actually read this now. What is the device in the middle of the room? The Bloom detests those who seek to understand it on a rational level. For some time now it has sought my destruction to erase all accomplished here. The device generates a multi-spectrum field that propels the Bloom's advances. Ah! Okay. Alright, well, let me... Yaxu's lip curls, but this means only that it waits for me without. Had other devices not been available to create food and drink, I should have perished here. I am wondering, because there's been talk about the Bloom retreating from, say, from the minds of people to an extent. I'm seeing a theme of that, and I'm wondering if this fella has something to do with it. Because that could be a piece of the puzzle. This thing might actually be what's suppressing the bloom, and why it is that people have been questioning the Mamavra's judgment, that kind of thing. It's like, all right, you're not in line with the bloom, and only some people think. Maybe no one's in line with the bloom. Maybe people only think they are. Tell me about that construct in the corner. Many years ago, it came to my door. Many years ago, it came to my door. It vowed service to me if its memories and personality could be erased. I did not ask why, just as I would hope to have my own reasons respected. He rubs his eyes. It now serves to protect me against those who would do me harm, most specifically the Murdens and the cultists. Yep. What do you think would make the Bloom cultists leave you alone? This is the second such construct we've met down here. What do you think would make the Bloom cultists leave you alone? Defeating them with reasoned arguments would be difficult, the Varjellan appears to consider. I present no danger to them, not like you. A threat of force might persuade them, but I believe they tell the truth about enjoying the Bloom's favor. To oppose them is to draw its ire. Do you have anything you'd be willing to sell me? You should stop experimenting on the Bloom. I mean, sure. Stop? Preposterous. A life's work expresses itself within these walls. Ceasing production now would be to invalidate that work. To cast knowledge away, to spit in the face of reason. No good reason exists to stop. Attack Iaksu. No. So we could try to persuade. Is the threat of annihilation not enough for you? The cultists will kill you and destroy your work. It's time to stop. Perhaps you didn't hear me. Stop these experiments or you will discover the meaning of pain. Let's talk about something else. I think we actually did away with most of these. But, I'm going to ask if you have anything to sell. He looks around at his cluttered desk. I do not anticipate a need for these devices any longer. Perhaps they can serve you. Oh, yes. What do we have? There's more spray flesh, which could come in handy. Embrace the all. +1 training level in concentration. That would be cool. It's a cipher. You have to have room for it. Still. I gotta remember which one I have and which one I do not have. Entropic Engine. 10 energy damage. 8 physical damage. +1 damage for effort applied. Maximum of +4. I see. What I have starts out at lower damage, but it cranks it up as you increase it. This might be better. I don't know. On critical hits, conferred disrupted. But it is a light weapon. On critical hits conferred disrupted, entropic forces destabilize the target, causing negative effects to increase each round. Active 3 rounds. Cloak of Faces. Helps with deception. Heretic's Fork. Granted abilities. Scan thoughts. The surface thoughts of most people or creatures you speak with appear in conversations. Amplified Encephalic Rush. That would be good. Refined Fleetfoot Moss. Hyper-Elutriated Force. Ecstasy Paralyzer. That sounds exciting. Hi, Crit Witch. Hi. No, we've been talking. We were talking about the fact that the place that we're currently inhabiting is this in the Bloom, and this game is made entirely of flesh. And then we were talking about trains, and then these things happen. +2 damage for effort applied, 10 mental damage. So this is Maximum plus 10. Light weapon bonus. On a hit, confer a dazed. Minus 15% willpower. Minus 15% on attacks. I mean, that could be cool. It's a ranged weapon. It's also purple, which is perhaps of the same level. I don't know, or is that just my WoW training? I don't know. Titan driver, which I've also seen recently pronounced Piton, which just sort of depends, I guess. 9 physical damage, plus 2 damage per effort applied, maximum plus 8. Light weapon plus 15 on weapon attacks. Follow up. Neuropraxic detonation. That sounds exciting. Deals 20 mental damage and confers daze to all characters in range of the target point. Seems action. Fluid armature. 4 resistance plus 4 armor. And psychic focus. Bonded item. Plus 15 on lore to mystical tasks. Plus 2 damage on esoteric attacks. That sounds cool. Things to figure out about. I think I might still have a bonded item slot, but I don't know. How's it going? Hi. I hope all is well. Those of you just joining us, I'm doing okay. I'm just sort of staring into the abyss for a while and pondering the very, very far future, 4 billion years hence. Because that's what we have to work with right now. Okay. So, the time has come to once again run around and put our grubby fingers all over things. So, before we try to convince this guy to stop messing with the bloom, which I don't know if that's what we should do until we know more about what's happening. Papers lie scattered haphazardly across this desk. Small knowledge cubes gleam. Finger-sized implements cast processions of glowing glyphs, and other media lie scattered throughout the mess. Examine the notes and recording devices. As you reach out to examine the objects on the desk, the Varjellan barks. Careful! Much time has been invested in this work, and I recall where I placed each bit of data. Replace where you found each item. Time to do the thing. Continue to examine the contents of the desk. No, we must touch everything. As you shuffle through the Varjellan's notes on paper scribbled on dried bloom flesh, dictated into talking data cubes and recorded in more exotic storage devices, you realize the sheer volume of information he has collected. It is a trove of arcane and technical observations of the bloom, loosely organized into a number of categories: behavior, self/others; communication, self/others; influences, influenced by; maws, how to open, how to close, how to divert. I didn't know you could do that. History, unrecorded, recorded. Observations, conclusions. Is this going to be a long tree of each one? Is that what this is going to be? Who knows? Every data point leads to a reference in another document. Some of those links are simply notes guessing where the data is located based on the Varjellan's recollection. If you knew where to start analyzing his enormous collection of knowledge, you might be able to get somewhere. But the volume of information is simply staggering. A team of Eon priests couldn't process this much data in a year. For a lone scholar, it would likely take 10 years or more. The Varjellan has stopped glancing over as you shuffle through his notes. Instead, he is staring at you, waiting and watching. It becomes difficult to concentrate under that steady gaze, so you put the notes down and step away from the table. I don't know what it means. It's like, it'd be great if we could figure out how the index works. What's happened with Anathema? Resolve the dispute between Inkpot and Eoxu. Both Inkpot and Eoxu have asked me to deal with the other. Inkpot wants me to stop Eoxu's experiments, and Eoxu wants me to drive Inkpot and the cultists away. If I can't settle this one way or another, it will probably turn to violence between them. Excellent. Violence. No, we don't like violence. Violence hurts. So if we mess with this, that'll stop the experiments. Probably not a great idea. So of course, we're going to mess with it. I'm going to continue habitually saving the game because, of course I am. I was trained in the 80s on adventure games, where you must save early and save often. All right. Okay. An odd device sits in the middle of the room. It almost looks like a capsule of some sort, but it is covered with ducts and ports and vents, and a strange blue light emanates from it. Cables run from its base throughout the room, attached to various devices. It vibrates with a mild, occasionally stuttering pulse, and when it falters, the field that protects the interior of the shanty briefly fades. Okay. Just going to examine the device. We're not going to shut it down or destroy it yet. I have 85% without spending a single point. If I spend a single point, I will have 100%. Will I need this? Will I need this to fuel? 85 is great. See? Okay. Success! The machine encapsulates a piece of bloom flesh, which is wired with various leads. It appears the core is a counter-stimulus device to drive the bloom back. Resonances and frequencies use the flesh of the great predator against itself, creating a kind of energy field that repels the bloom and keeps it from entering this chamber. But the constant pressure from the bloom's hunger is driving the machine toward irrevocable, irreversible breakdown. You do not think you can repair it. That's important. Oh, you're trying to study? Oh, I'm sorry. I am a terrible distraction. Which is partially the reason you need to be lurking. So off I goes. Have fun. Don't lose too much sanity or humanity in this specific game. Take care. Take care, Critwitch. Thank you for coming by and for watching as we play this mind-boggling game.
Yeah, that's something I could do.
Yes, walk a few steps. Yes, I'm glad you could do that. Let's look at the construct here and see if we can talk to it. Barbs and blades cover the surface of this hulking metal construct. Its scalloped skin looks like a suit of intricate armor, the joints able to bend in directions impossible for a human. Though the construct is immobile, something in its design sparks a frisson of involuntary dread within you, as if it were a predator regarding you. Although it looks similar to waits for prey, you can hear nothing of its thoughts, as though it were an empty shell. Who are you? It continues to stare impassively ahead, ignoring your attempts to converse. If it weren't for the faint hum from within its chest, you would question whether it is even functioning. Why don't you speak to me? The construct remains utterly silent. It doesn't acknowledge you at all. Hello? How many times can we hello at it before it cracks and says something? No. What are you? The construct remains utterly silent. It doesn't acknowledge you at all. Tell me about yourself. I want to be friends. The construct remains utterly silent. We're going to examine it now. We have 70% on this, which is not bad. Do I want to make it 90? Do I? How much do I care about this? No one else is going to be able to... Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious enough. Success! The construct doesn't seem to mind your prodding and poking. Indeed, it doesn't react at all. By the time you're finished, you are reasonably certain that while it maintains basic locomotive and processing functions, its mind has been utterly erased. It truly is an automaton now, lacking any sort of free will. Some of its weapon systems have also been deactivated, though its killing blades are as deadly as ever. Oh! Okay, we're gonna walk away. Okay, so... Now, knowing this thing is gonna shut down inevitably, talking to him about it is probably... might change things up, perhaps, maybe? Maybe? Perhaps. Here's the thing, though. If, before I try to persuade him of anything, if Tiber is running around in here, I kind of want to wait until we have Tiber, like, in our party, assuming that's going to happen. Because Tiber is much more persuasive than anyone else, any of the other characters in this game. I'll save after because I spent a point. And I must hoard the points. Hoard all of them, even though sleeping is free. You disturb me again. What great matter calls for no interruption? Let me just check here briefly to see if there's... We have now things to talk about. Do you realize you have years of data that still needs analysis? Blue Tide, yes! Yes, nonsense. The accumulated experiments have yielded only... He trails off as he looks over at his desk full of notes and begins making mental calculations. Perhaps 12 years should data gathering stop now. Interesting. He continues to regard his pile of notes. Have I been here so long? Perhaps it is time to consider analysis. I have experienced this quite frequently. This kind of thing. Also, your field generator is failing, just so you'll know. The relevance of this statement to my work is negligible. He breaks off as the import of your statement strikes him. He hurries over to the machine and inspects it thoroughly, his crest bobbing with quick movements of his head. As he stands, his face is grim. It may fail within a year. The situation is dire. The repair of the generator will be difficult, perhaps not possible. Also, some of your automaton's weapons are non-functional. Maintenance of the construct is essential for safety and continued well-being. Unfortunately, it is a task that continues to be deferred. The Varjellan's crest flutters, then he concedes. In case of a major attack on this structure, we may well be overrun. Not enough time. Only 28 hours in a day. Must consider means of extension. Yes, by the way, for those of you new to Numenera, the turning of the Earth is a little slower 4 billion years in the future. I feel as though that's going to make persuading him easier. So I could try it. But if I try it, there's no going back. That said, I mean, I've saved the game. We've already got 75%, for goodness sake. 95 is very, yeah, I definitely feel that helped, what we did. What we just told him. Success. He stops his work as you begin speaking and begins to nod his head. The words spoken are rational. This would not have been realized. Worked for many years yet, I might have, yet my information gathering is sufficient already. Yeah, I mean, for goodness sake, it's... Given the state of everything, it's best to just get him to stop now. He looks at you with one eye. The time arrives that data be turned into useful knowledge. The experiments cease. Accept this as gratitude. Here, thank you for talking me out of it. Here, have a thing. Yes, application, and it would feel well to be free of this underworld. And we received an encephalon of subjugating revivification. Encephalon of subjugating revivification. Good words, good words. Nanospirits reanimate the muscles of a humanoid corpse to fight by your side. Great! This undulating mass of metallic tendrils resembles nothing so much as a sea flower sculpted from woven steel. Parting the wriggling metal ropes reveals the nucleus, a knotted metallic brain whose every fissure pulses with faint green light. When placed in close proximity to any intact corpse, the object's tendrils will burrow deep into the recesses of the dead being's body, Within moments, the encephalon will be completely subsumed into the host, who will arise a mindless thrall awaiting purpose. Mystical lore tells us, a farmer once discovered a host of similar objects, prying them from the fossilized carapaces of beings from antiquity. Supposing them to be seeds, he planted them near the family's burial plot. After recovering from the shock of seeing his ancestors rise from their graves, he made the best of his situation and put them to work tending the fields. The farmer took ill and ultimately passed. His family, it is said, can still be seen ceaselessly toiling to harvest his long barren lands to this day. I see we're going full Cronenberg. That's delightful. The Varjellan moves around the room. Some machines will remain active, but the experiments will cease. He powers down the devices and closes his eyes for a brief moment. May my luck hold, he whispers. Well, there we go. Wait, can I no longer buy things? Is he going to leave us? I'm stuck on this screen. I don't know what's happening. I zoomed in too much. I can't see what he's doing. Oh, God! Anyway. Here we go. Okay, he's still here. All right, that did something. Yoxu's experiments have ceased. I should inform Inkpot. I will. And actually, I'm going to need just a second because I must adjust the HVAC for my toes are now yelling at me that they're growing colder. 1 second. Okay, adjustment made. Where am I? Okay. Getting more XP. Oh no, wait, that's blue and gold tide right now that are dominant. We need blue and indigo tide to be dominant. We don't need it to be dominant, but I'd prefer those to be dominant. We have to do a lot more indigo things. Okay, we'll talk to Inkpot. As I don't think there was going to be any reasoning with Inkpot. I will, however, check with the Yoxu real quick. Anything you want to sell me? Yeah, I was going to stay here in case I want to buy stuff. That's good. Now that we are on this path.
Of course.
Of course. Be sure to use your companions to assist when completing tasks. Their skills might give you the advantage you need. I can't read that sign from here. Walls of this building are covered in papers with various threats and slurs written on them. Okay, alright, okay, you win. I forget the voices I was doing for these. Inkpot looks up from his scribbling, his crooked mouth shaping itself into the mockery of a smile. We await your intercession with Yoxu, but our god is in pain, so we will not wait forever. I convinced Yoxu to stop his measurements of the bloom.
I'll remember that.
Ah! Something happened. Praise the Devourer! He embraces you, eyes wild and feverish. The other cultists caper about, bending and twisting in exultation. Releasing you suddenly, he rummages in a pocket and drops a handful of shins into your hand, along with a small device. Payment from the extremities in the manner of the outside world. But the greater reward is the favor you have earned from our god. Money! Excellent. And a butterfly. Butterfly oddity, which I could sell for more money. These glasses have a shiny metallic frame that always feels warm. The lenses are nearly opaque and blurry, making the wearer feel dizzy and sick. Just the kinds of glasses everyone wants. Are you sure it's safe to drink from that pool? Of course, drink the juices of the bloom, and your mind will be open to its thoughts and desires. Farewell. Praise the great devourer. Okay, we're done here. I do not want to read your pamphlets. Okay. Ikina worries me when she says things like that. Okay. Tidal Surge conversation options allow you to channel psychic forces to influence the world around you, though sometimes at a cost. These are only unlocked after you find someone to train you in something. Okay.
Of course.
Of course. Alright, this is the area I wanted to check out. We have the back end of the ship, the Katina. We have the spherical tank, which seems delightful. We have a vast interior. We have a maw. And we can just sort of wander around and chat with people. Yeah, I already looked at that last time. Clockwise. Actually, head clockwise. The whole middle section of this building is gone, erased from existence by something that passed directly through. The most likely culprit is the vehicle that rests a short distance away. The Katina.
Look out below! Above! Sideways!
I'm going to save the game again because I won't have to go back too far if something happens. We shall stare at this blue ring together for all eternity as we wait. There it is! Okay.
Of course.
Hey, what up? Ein Tozen. Whoa. Wow. I have no idea. I have no idea how I would say that. Ein Tozon. Tozon? Tozon. Ein Tozen. We'll go with that. A stunning man in formidable garb greets you with arms wide open. His golden eyes stir strange, unbidden feelings in you. My friend, he says, spreading his arms. Welcome. I'm Ein Tozen. The sound of his deep rumbling voice. Why do they give him lines before they tell us what the voice sounds like? Because that's how people think, Jim. Oh, okay. Welcome. I am Ein Tozen. The sound of his deep rumbling voice makes you think of a waterfall at the rise of the morning sun, beatific and profound. It makes you feel drunk. Oh, hey. It says... My D&D wizard once drank from a mysterious pool of transmutation magic. It gave her temporary clairvoyance. Later, she looked into a crystal ball and became undead. The clairvoyance had worn off by then. Yeah, sometimes. You should not drink from every pool you come across. Because that's, I don't know. Yeah. Or look into every single thing that tells you the future, because, yeah. I suppose becoming undead is one way of a crystal ball telling you the future. I don't know. You look into the crystal ball. What is the future? Death. I don't know. But anyway. Ein Tozen. Then you see Rin taking a step back, putting you partially between her and the man. She cocks her head to the side, still wary but curious. Do you know this man, Rin? I must ask if Rin knows this man.
I know you're busy, but could we talk?
No, we gotta talk. No, she sounds certain, but her expression suggests she's still mulling it over. There might be information here. No, what can I do for you? He says with a puzzled glance at her. What a strange thing to do. Why is she hiding from me? Also, your story here that you have just said reminds me of another thing that has very little to do with anything else, but it was, yeah, no, it has, as opposed to just trying to look before you leap, because there was I remember once a game that we played where we were getting ready to strangely enough, fight creatures that preyed on wisdom. I believe they were undead beings, and we were like, okay, we got to go in and attack that whole group of them. There's a huge group of them in there. We're gonna go in and fight them, but first we have to drink these potions that increase our wisdom, and so that we'll be able to do it. And we'll run in and smash them. Okay, and we drink the potions, and then a moment later we're sort of thinking, and we're like, maybe we shouldn't take so fast a strike on them. Maybe we should think this through a little bit before we actually do anything. And it was beautiful because it was a completely organic RP moment that we had there. We didn't know we were going to do that until we were drinking there. We were like, I feel... the GM basically said, you feel more wise now. And I'm like, wait a minute. We should roleplay that. That was fun. Study the man, or are you trying to hypnotize me? Ooh, because if we study the man, then hypnosis might happen. You watch him quietly for a moment, and something odd happens. His gaze thickens, drifting away from you as though you have vanished, as though you are only visible to him when you are speaking. And yet, you feel that probing warmth within your mind, like fingers searching a dark space for treasure or food. Are you trying to hypnotize me? No, not trying. Trying requires effort, and the effect is quite beyond my control, he says with a slight genuine smile. The effect is caused by my passion for studying the web of connections between people, even separated by words, or... He pauses, his smile fading. Death. Even in death, connections persist. I'm surprised he's still as coherent as he is. Oh, well, it's just a matter of time. His humor continues fading. He seems thinner now, frailer, less human. His voice is a dry, papery, ancient thing. My studies took me all over the world and to lands beyond the stars before I finally came to the bloom. Here, my hunger took on a more literal meaning. With careful hands, he opens his clothing, exposing a maw. One of... This is the guy! Exposing a maw, one of the bloom's sentient mouths. You sense otherness behind it, a gateway to a place beyond this one. I told you that my studies changed when I came to the bloom, he says. One of the maw's tentacles winds around his wrist. This is how. A maw claimed me. Now we both feed, quite harmlessly, mind you, on the connections between people. I understand the sensation can be quite pleasant. The tentacle slips reluctantly from his arm. If you wish to feed us, bring a close friend to visit us. We will be here, waiting. I have brought an ally to feed you, as you asked. Would any of them satisfy? No! Farewell. Farewell. Do come back any time. I think this is the guy. Because we got this quest. Servant of the Tides, yes? I saw a vision of the person I should speak to. A being from beyond this reality opened through a gate in a man's body. Yeah, I mean, we could feed him someone. Just, just a little bit. No? Rin looks as though she's about to say something, then shuts her mouth. This happens 3 times before she gives up. Do you want to talk to me about something? You were acting strangely around Ain Tosin, we say, standing right in front of him. Why? I don't know if I should go with this specifically, or if I should... No, I think we should. I don't know. I would remember if I'd seen him before, wouldn't I? If I'd been in this terrible place? She shakes her head. Maybe we should see what he can do, just in case. I want to talk to you about you again. I want to talk about something else. No, not that. How are you holding up? Before I met you, I asked Ol if I could bring someone to help me. If he could bring someone to help me. I know it's embarrassing. He's not the right sort of god for that. But then you came, and you're even better than anything a god would bring me. She watches you patiently. Let's continue on. Right, shivers. So, the thing about this is... who are we most closely connected to here? I mean, we have kind of a connection with Rin because we've been with her for so long, but then we also have a connection with Matkina. Eritis, we're just sort of trying to help out. I'm concerned about feeding someone to Ain Tosin. I feel as though that's not a thing we want to do. At the same time, though, we need that information that Ain Tosin has. You might be able to tell us about the tides. 'Tis a question. Maybe after we meet up with Tiber, we should feed Tiber to him. Who knows? Who knows? Would any of them satisfy you? Ain Tosin closes his eyes and concentrates. A silky heat fills the air. You feel comfortable, lazy, happy. He holds one hand before him, centered on your chest. Then his finger moves over to Eritis. Past your shoulder to Matkina. A wide smile consumes his face. Declare a name and I will feed. What about me? I have strong feelings toward him. Unfortunately not, he says. I mean no offense, but my studies require subjects above a certain age. On second thought, I don't want to feed you right now. I understand, he says, nodding, smiling. Yeah, no, I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like... Let's hold off on this for right now, because I don't want to feed him somebody that... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is you're feeding a connection to someone with a connection to me or a connection to him. It's very disconcerting. And what are you feeding? You're feeding him the connection itself? Does that mean we will no longer have a connection? Let's not do that. Not just yet. We're thinking about it. Let's talk to this crimper. Or a person named Crimper, probably. This person does not probably crimp things as a profession. This person is probably named Crimper. I am guessing. This filthy old man is dressed in a motley of rags, arranged artfully to emphasize the inhuman reach of his needle-like fingers and the two protruding humps on his back, as if his mutations are a source of pride. He wears smoked goggles on his forehead, parked above his transparent eyelids and his noseless face. His teeth are small, even, and shining white. He shows them often as he smiles to himself. His pockets are filled with trinkets and baubles that he has picked from the piles of trash. He raises his head and says, "Eh, what have we here? Who comes to disturb old Crimper? Have you come to search through this bounty with me? You're welcome to share." He looks at you keenly. "Share, you hear?" "What are you doing here?" He lowers his head and grumbles. "Hey, yeah, what's it look like I'm doing? I dig, and I answer questions for fools. Not everything in a trash heap is trash, but wastrels abound. Why waste? Why waste indeed? Pfft." He comes through a mound of trash with uncanny speed and precision. "Tourists, pfft, always bothering Crimper." Have you ever found anything valuable here? His tone instantly softens, sounding almost pleased. "Ah, yeah, people lose all kinds of treasures in this trash." In the trash. He sits back and pushes up his goggles. "Unexploded detonations, blocks of metal that spark and steam with nanospirit swarms. A marble with a cloud of insects inside. Half-used healing injectors." He beams. "A Caloxtrian Asvale even. That brought me many shins. Oh, perhaps Crimper was wrong. Perhaps this one is interested." "What is the best item you've found here?" "Ah, it was this." He fumbles around in his pockets, slapping at his shapeless rags before he reaches a hidden stash and pulls something out. It's an ugly vomit green cylinder made of organic material about the size of a forearm, covered in knots and whorls and tendrils. Covered in knots and whirls and tendrils. It looks like it might still be alive. I found this years ago. It was buried near Gar Koto's tank, and I would have missed it if it hadn't wriggled. Listen. He squeezes it and sets it down, and the thing begins to sing in a slow, discordant tone. The device shivers and rolls around on the ground, hooting and piping through tiny mouths in its tendrils and whirls, and then issues a melancholy belch. The mouths close, and the thing ceases its movement and sound. He titters a bit. I laugh every time. I had shed blood for this one. Some human thought to take it from me. He drops it into one of his outer pockets. It was my only comfort the night young Gottlieb disappeared. Helped me through, it did. Try to steal his ugly little music box. No. Seems like Little Nihliesh has an awful lot of trash. This is the midden for the bloom, to be sure. I've crossed through many chambers and cavities, and none of them have this kind of refuse. We mutants do not make this much mess, and new piles of garbage appear daily. So much work! Yes, okay. Yeah, no, we're good. I don't want his music box right now. It brings him comfort. Farewell. Hey, child, you ask plenty of questions about the refuse and the hidden treasures here, but not so much about finding treasures of your own. Have you ever dreamed of picking your future from the ground? I can show you. Oh, yes. An apprentice, maybe. Haven't had someone learn from me since young Gottlieb. Be happy to learn whatever you have to teach me. I can't right now, but the offer still stands later. I'll be back. I'd rather be dead than caught picking through the trash, Grimper. Forget it. I mean, this is an opportunity, right? This is a golden opportunity to learn things, to learn new skills. Also, what else do we have to do right now? I'd be happy to learn whatever you want to tell me. Gold and blue. Sounds good. The first possession in your hands should be on your hands. Trash picker needs gloves or skin like synth, stone, glass, and ordure combine in these piles, and like as not some sharps will pierce your skin. You want none of that fluid in your core, child, or you'll end up like Crimper here, a poor Vrang, not right between the ears. He continues in that vein for a time, leading you to various trash piles. This one, picked clean. See how the pile is strewn, and behold, a pile of last resort. You want those relatively undisturbed. You spent some time looking for newer piles, and you're rewarded with the pleasure of sifting through some organic goop and chemical-scented tailings. But eventually you find something that may be useful, and you pocket it. An ancient spirit cube. It's another oddity, worth monies. Intricate patterns are carved on all sides of this small metal cube, which fit comfortably in the palm of your hand. It spreads warmth throughout your body. Cube! I look askance now at any cubes that show up in things related to stuff written by Monty Cook. Now over here, the others hit the pile quick but not deep. You want to go deeper than the surface, yeah? But you need to go fast and careful. He shows you how to dig through a larger pile quickly and safely, maneuvering around jagged chunks of broken synths, shattered strong glass, and splintered wood. At the end, you find an interesting piece, and you take that too. An Everlit. Another oddity worth more monies. This looks like an ordinary white candle set on a metal base. Its material is firm, pliable, and doesn't burn or melt. There's no wick. An illegible inscription is engraved on the metal base. When you turn your eyes away, a flickering flame lights up the room, casting dancing shadows. The flame always disappears when you look back. Interesting. You learn quickly. You have a true gift. Come back and share sometime with me, child. Having paid careful attention to Crimper's lessons, you feel that you could now locate other treasures in the trash of Little Nihliesh. Excellent. More stuff. Yay, stuff! We can now gather more stuff. I don't see any opportunities nearby. So we shall go on stuff patrol later. In the meantime, do we want to go in here? Perhaps? Or should we clear this screen out first? Let's see. I actually don't have too much longer. I've got like maybe 20-30 minutes, something like that. I want to check out a couple more things, though. Trying to figure out who else there. Yeah, let me see what we've got going on. Just kind of want to see who is where. We got these folks, and we got these folks. We already did what we needed to do down here. Delny is still there. Interesting. We make out a misshapen figure that huddles under the makeshift shelter. Its head lolls against the ground, nearly twice the size of its body. Oh, okay. That's the one we need to talk to, or are they just there to kind of be part of the ambiance? We don't know. There's something down here to look at. There's some mutants over here by this delightful maw. Yeah, not that many people to interact with. We'll go ahead and do that first. As we go on a good scavenge. We can have ourselves a good little scavenge. I can't spell. Testing. Okay. One door. As you approach this bulk of stone and fur, it starts to move, becoming less of an inanimate object and more of a man. Before you stands a giant figure with a beard so thick it seems like sculpted granite. But when you see his gentle eyes, a tangible wave of peace washes over you. I am happy to see you, Adan. He speaks carefully as though every word is a step upon icy ground. You have been gone too long. The Peacebringer. It would be good to repay my debt to him. He is a good man. I'm glad to see you again, too, but I've forgotten your name. I'm not the man you think I am. I mean, truth is probably a good thing to do here. Sadly, I feel as though it's going to push my gold up, which I don't want, but we'll do it. Gentle confusion crinkles the mutant's stony brow, making a sound like boulders shifting against one another. It is me, Adan, he says slowly. Wandor. Perhaps it has been too long. Perhaps you do not remember me. His shoulders sag as he says this. I mean, he could have been here before as the changing god. I am sorry that I've made you unhappy. Damn it! Do not be sorry, he says with a gentle sigh. You must help many people. It was foolish to think you would remember me. It does not matter. I will help him if I can. You ever... There are people outside. Why have you returned to Dun? Can I help in any way? How are you, Wandor? Better than before, he says shyly. Better than before we met. Then there was sadness in me, rage and sadness fed by my many thoughts. But you found the stranger inside me and took it out. He spreads his rocky palms. Since that day I have felt peace. Sadness at what? Rage at what? It no longer matters. Who is this stranger you mentioned? I do not know, he says, shaking his head back and forth 4 deliberate times. But it entered my head in the accident. It was heavy like a golden stone. It made my thoughts faster but sharper. They made me sad. They made me angry. Yes, that's usually what forms of enlightenment do. It tends to happen that way. The warmth of his smile ripples across his face. But you told me you could help. You took out the device, took away the dangerous thoughts, leaving me calm. Oh, God. Yeah, this was the changing God. Probably. Simple joy fills his eyes. You said you had more use for thoughts than I did. Oh, my God. Ah! More victims of the changing God's mental manipulation. What accident? I don't remember. The stranger held the memories and the pain, and the stranger is gone. Gratitude warms his face. You took it. What were the thoughts? They are hard for me to remember now, he says carefully, but it was my voice. You should not have left them, it said. They are gone because of you, it said. You must learn from this, it said. He shifts uneasily, but when I tried to learn from the thoughts, they increased, they shouted, they would not leave me alone. I do not know what they mean. I do not need to know. I think you can help me open Einthosen's maw. Really? Would that be helpful? I don't know. What was the stranger you mentioned again? How did you find peace again? So we've already asked about these things. Let's hold off on this one. Again. Yes, Adon, farewell. I mean, maybe that'll... I mean, he's right over there. But...
Why not?
why not? Yeah, this is a very good question. That's terrifying. I swear. Okay. Young mutants. Trying to get Alopo to check out the Katina, but he's got the heart of a Dosi. I think these two want me to die. No one who ever went into that wreck came out again. I heard Aaron has been missing for days. There was lots of neat Numenera near the Katina when it crashed here, but all the stuff that was easy to find is gone now. Yeah, it would be. Okay, we will come back to the Katina. We desperately want to see inside, but I want to finish looking around here first.
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Guards! How are you? You stand before its noble grace Koto. Keep your tongue civil and you'll keep you. Let's try that again. You stand before its noble grace Koto. Keep your tongue civil and you'll keep your tongue. There we go. Hands away from your weapons, human.
Trust and honesty are our bonds.
I mean, you know, that's typically... that happens a lot. I feel like saving before talking to Guard Koto is probably a good idea. Just, you know, a thought. Probably. Might help. Who knows? You stand before a painted spherical tank. fashioned of metal and synth. The paint is old and cracking. Inside the tank is a murky liquid, or possibly a thickened gas, and every so often you can see motion from a fluke, flipper, or a strangely deformed arm within. A cleverly disguised grill on the front of the tank squawks out the distorted voice of the tank's occupant. It buzzes and moans, drawing out some words and shortening others in a burst of static. Okay. I am Garkoto, Prince of the Fahat, and the delegate here in Little Nihliesh. The voice spits and pops. You have my gratitude for averting the violence with the Mamovra's soldiers, but I must know, why did you act? It felt the right thing to do, because I could, it's my nature. Violence wouldn't have helped anyone, and it might have had greater repercussions. This is really the point here. Ah, excellent, those are the tides I wanted. Garkoto is silent for a moment. An admirable sentiment, human. One that appears to be more and more difficult to maintain given the recent troubles plaguing us. Violence is in the air. Changes come for us all, but the Mamovra does not seem to grasp this truth. A wise and just action. But did he mean it that way? The flux and the bloom, and thus the Mamovra's weakness, is apparent in the instability of the maws we use for trade and transport. The old maws are closing and new ones open to take their place. There is a new maw here in Little Nihliesh, one I would like to see opened, but the Mamovra refuses to aid me. She won't even leave her fortress. Yes, I agree. There's perhaps a bit of creepiness going on here. But I have said enough. What would you have from me? Just around the corner, there's a crashed vehicle. How did it get here? What was the proximate cause of the fight between the Mamovra's guards and your people? Where did your people come from? Why are the maws changing and closing? Farewell. Okay, we're going to ask these questions. Hopefully we'll get them all. Ah, the Katina. A year ago, the clocks began to act strangely, speeding and slowing, pulsing, and then the air seemed to bulge in places. We thought nothing of it, considering our surroundings. But then space itself tore open, and this monstrosity tore through Little Nihliesh. It pulverized the house of Antugar and Sauyan, erasing their family. Since then, enterprising scavengers have sought wealth in the wreckage, but most avoid the Katina. It is haunted by the ghosts of its passengers. Really? It's a vehicle that affects space-time slightly. What was the proximate cause of the fight between the Mamovra's guards and your people? More blue tide. The tank's grill spits a shower of sparks. The bloom no longer favors the Mamovra. The bloom is the source of the Mamovra's power. If she has no power, the obligation to pay for her protection has vanished. We pay for reality, not promises. The distorted voice crackles with an electric sigh. Perhaps our people have grown tired of the humans taking. Where did your people come from? Our home is the city of Nihliesh in the Steadfasts beyond, which is much to the west of where we are now, just beyond the Clock of Kala. My cousins of the Fahat rule over the three-tier city wisely and well. When a maw portal opened in Nihliesh, we investigated to see if we might eke out a profit. We saw enough possibility that our explorers sent for me, a minor piece of the Fahat. I was to head this trade embassy. The speaker makes a slightly embarrassed noise. I did not think that the maw would close behind us, but 10 years ago it did. Ah! Tell me of the Steadfast. You ask much of me. I can tell you only what I have heard, for our glorious city is in what they call the Beyond. If you're in the Beyond, would you call it the Beyond? If that's where you live? That's an interesting question. The Steadfast is a collection of kingdoms, principalities, and other lesser denominations of feudalism, held together through the dictates of their religion, the Order of Truth. The Aeon priests of the Order have spread their faith far and wide. I hear they have established a foothold in the city of Sagas Cliffs. They kind of have, yeah. Sort of. Kind of, sort of. Now, there are Aeon priests there. I remember now. We went and we saw them. We said hi. We grabbed the I think that's where we got the copper sphere we have with us. What can you tell me of the Fahad? My brethren are blessed mutants, each diverging into a new pathway for humanity. We rule over the city of Nihliesh, using the powers bestowed by our remarkable births to lead normal humanity to a new age of possibilities. We are close in spirit, yet rivals in politics. For the truth of a mutation lies in its ability to prove its use. The subtleties of our machinations are lost here, alas. Alright. Tell me more about Nihliesh. The speaker is silent for a moment. The city was once a machine, a colossal device that creates chum. Great. We built atop the machine, creating elaborate structures and impossible architectures, and our city grew into the sky. The great and powerful of Nihliesh live among the fluted spires and the arching byways with powered cars lifting us to the skies in a moment. The shops and palaces of our people. Alas, to think that I might die away from my home. The voice goes very quiet. To see sunrise over the cold desert again, to speak with Yigdflee on the concourse one last time. Starting to wonder where the cold desert is. Because I have a map that I remember once showing, but I don't know if there's a way I can actually show it, but I have a map somewhere that perhaps, let me see if I can find it under Muddy Cook Games stuff, MCG, looking Numenera. Is the map here? No. Okay, we won't worry about it right now. It's probably in the other thing. Or nowhere I'd be able to get at it immediately, so we're not going to worry about it right now. We'll look at it later. All right. Let's see. I have other questions. Why are the maws changing and closing? Ask. Do you ask for my knowledge and my conjecture? If the first, then I must confess my ignorance. I notice things that distract me, and then I stop reading. There we try. Let's try that again. If the first, then I must confess my ignorance. If the second, Garkoto pauses, considering, and the grill hisses and sparks when the mutant speaks again. If the second, I believe the bloom has a feeding cycle. It is an enormous organism, you know, and I suggest that these events are part of a larger pattern. The mutant's vast bulk shifts in the tank. Perhaps the bloom is preparing itself for a new Memovra. That seems reasonable? Maybe that's what's gonna happen. Maybe Matt Kina's gonna take the position. That could happen. Do you want to take the Memovra's place? Do you want to take the Memovra's place? Garkoto's laughter spills out in a staticky hiss. I do not desire such responsibility, nor do I seek the attentions of the bloom. That's actually a very good position to be in there. All right. I agree with that position. Okay, that's it. Very well, Garkoto. A quest! As you turn, the speaker buzzes once more. In case word has not yet reached your ear, I am offering a bounty to the first who can open the newborn maw, and tell me what lies on the other side. The voice pauses. Of course, the first step is to discover what the maw wishes to eat. Without that knowledge, it cannot be opened. No promises. Farewell. I'll look into it. Very well. The newborn Maw. A new Maw has appeared in Little Nihliesh. Garkoto is offering a reward to the first person who opens the maw and tells him what lies on the other side. Find out what the newborn maw wants to eat. Every maw hungers for something in particular, and it will only open after it's been fed. If I want to open the newborn maw, I'll need to discover what it wants to eat. Delny, the young mutant woman who I freed from Vrung, is a psychic with strong empathic abilities. She might be able to sense what the maw wants. Maybe. She is still down there, apparently reverting to her shadow form for some reason. Concern. But, we'll not worry about that just yet. There's the maw. Right over there. Hey, how's it going? How you doing, buddy? Can't do anything with it. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's just this. Okay. Oh! Okay. Let's have a little chat with this person who thinks they can hide from us, but they cannot. Yeah, heard ya. Heard ya. This striking woman towers over you. Though she seems gaunt and her skin is pale, even whitish, she still has a healthy glow that shines through a layer of dirt and grime. A flat circle of metal is affixed to her forehead, showing through her long blonde hair. At your approach, she begins to flex and tense, not in fear, but in preparation to fight. Her heavy armor is scarred by energies and battered by blades, but it seems to have retained its integrity. The sigil of 2 crossed swords is etched into the breastplate. She glowers. Have you come to beat the poor prisoner? Then be ready to tell your friends about the day Herja bested you. Then she studies you more closely. Or have you come to question me? Tell Garkoto that my answer is unchanged. He can rot in his soup. She pauses for a moment. I would appreciate an honest soup. The food they provide here would shame a Murden. Now the mutants have enlisted humans to make me confess. They're sick. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't work for Garkoto. I'm a visitor to this place. If you answer my questions and hold nothing back, perhaps I can help you. Yes, let's be mercenary now. I don't work for Garkoto. I'm a visitor to this place. I think that would be the best tack to take here. She presses her hand to her face, making a show of her embarrassment. But she still looks wary when she draws her hand away. My apologies, then. The mutants demand that I confess to a crime I did not commit, and I thought they were sending a human this time to break my will. She looks around. It will be good to speak of other things with a true-blooded human. Oh, great. So, okay, so just racist then. That's fine. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are any of us doing here, really? That's a question. She sighs. These mutants have accused me of a crime. They tell me that I must confess to this imaginary horror before they will let me go. So here I sit, rotting away, while they ask me to choose between the truth and my freedom. She rolls her shoulders and looks at you squarely in the eye. I choose to honor the truth. They have no laws and no souls. There can be no crimes against them. Oh, great. The exit's over there. You can easily overpower the mutants. Why don't you just leave? I heard a thing. And for a moment her eyes threaten to tear, and then she steels herself. Prince Garkoto has cast a spell on me. Here, let me show you. She steps toward you, reaching a hand out to grasp your shoulder. But before she can touch you, her fingers begin to bend, as if they had encountered an invisible wall. You see? But in case you think I jest with you, she hurls herself at you, shoulder first, and she rebounds dramatically, staggering backwards. I am confined to this space until I confess. Huh. Test it for yourself. You lift your hand and wave it through the air. You can even step close to her, and you feel nothing. She takes your hand and says, "Now step back." You do, and at the exact same point where she rebounded from the air, her hand is torn from yours. "They have to have their criminal," she says. "I suppose I fit their bill." "Why have you been imprisoned?" "Because they require someone to blame for some deaths among their people, and they chose me. The scum looked for someone different from them, and I happen to be nearby." She barks an unpleasant laugh. "At this point, I'm inclined to show them what kinds of horrors I could visit upon them. I will not confess to him. It's too great a risk." Hmm? There is something going on, clearly. I want to talk about the allegations against you. The mutants claimed that I poisoned them. A number of them died, and they decided that I was to blame. She frowns. "That is all they are, allegations. Garkoto has no right to imprison me." Huh. I don't think you're telling me everything. Mutants must have some reason to be suspicious of you. Versus, I don't think it's possible to commit crimes against something that's not human. These creatures disgust me. Being deceptive. Let me ask some other questions. Again, it's one of those things where I wonder if I should wait until we've re-encountered Tiber before trying this. Because, apparently, Rin is decent at getting people to talk, but it's... depends on how resistant she is to talk about it. I'm going to ask some other questions, and we're going to come back to this. We've surely passed the time. Man, I hope I remember next time that I wanted to come back to this. I want to talk about the allegations against you again. No, I was going to ask you some other questions. No, we'll come to that later. What's that sigil on your armor? Yes? She looks down, frowning. She looks down, frowning as if she had forgotten she wore such an emblem. This is the symbol of the Angulan Knights. The crossblades represent our ability to step beyond the laws of nations in order to deal true justice. Oh, great. We seek to reclaim the world for humanity's light. Yeah, that's yeah. Pax Romana. Or similar policies. Can you tell me of the Angulan Knights? Her face lights with passion. The symbol of our order praises our willingness to step beyond the bounds of propriety and advance the cause of humanity. She looks around and lowers her voice. Actual humanity, Oh, great. She tosses her hair. It must take up if we must take up the blade to mete out justice. We do not hesitate. We travel Midgard for the betterment of all, of those who oppose our mission, and those who oppose our mission soon see the errors of their ways, and the steadfast the order of truth blesses us. I am a knight marshal in our organization. I have proved myself many times over, and I will continue to do so as long as I draw breath. She leans back, her eyes closing. Our hunger for justice brings a great physical hunger as well. One council, I recall, they brought us fresh waters distilled from the dew of the mountains, roasted and spiced anine and exotic flaming cheeses. We do not ask anything of those we aid, but sometimes their largesse humbles me. What can you tell me about Garkoto? The mutant prince, I need to remember the mutant is both male and female. Oh, great. Such disdain. Swims in its disgusting stew of a tank, bathing in its own filth, and somehow it summons powers that keep the rest of its creatures in line. They said Garkoto was a wizard. I didn't believe them until the mutant imprisoned me with its powers. Yeah, she may have not poisoned them, but she certainly didn't feel bad about them being poisoned. Yeah, I know, right? Yes. I think that's all. I'm just scrolling back real quick, just in case there was, yeah. Alright, we're gonna head out there. Yes, you protect and guide me. Yeah, you keep asking them to do that. We'll see if anything happens. Oh, I see. We could interact with the maw. I don't feel like interacting with the maw just yet. But I will have a nice little chat with this mutant. I wonder what this maw eats. Arrogance, perhaps. Or the color green. Or girls with antlers. I mean, antlers are pretty tasty, but at the same time. Now I want to find out what this thing is. But I'm going to save the game real quick first because we're about to poke a thing. I'm going to need to get going shortly. But we're going to go ahead and go poke that thing in the corner first. Time has come to start poking things. A construct lies motionless and partly disassembled here, spider-like legs splayed about it. Natural lore tells us a piece of knowledge clicks into place. This was a creature known as an accelerator, a machine intelligence housed in a mechanical frame. Though they appear fearsome, the creatures are terrified of death and are always seeking new technology to incorporate into themselves in the hope of prolonging their lives. Search the construct. Inspect the construct. We'll inspect it first. You study the remains of the construct, putting the details together, noticing scattered piles of refuse and burnt holes in the back of its armor. The construct was likely cornered here and tried to flee up the mounds of trash rather than fight its tormentors. Hey, it's the name of the game! They said the thing! They said the thing! They attacked it from behind, and it fell, either dead or dying. Then you notice something odd. Some of its wounds are partially repaired, as if someone has been visiting the dead construct and haphazardly patching over the burned holes. You inspect again. The massive construct died, fleeing the beings that killed it. Countless small charred wounds speckle its rear armor. Search for anything useful. You search for a few minutes, but find nothing of value. Scavengers must have long ago picked this construct clean. Absently, you lay your hand upon the metal shell to push yourself away from the wreck and feel a faint, intermittent vibration. Reach into the hulk and find the source of the vibration. They said Torment. Roll credits. Yes, we're gonna try this. And I mean, I've got a lot of effort I can apply here, but let's actually see other people, probably who are better at this. Starting at 0, he can get up to 55. Rin, of course, starts at 25% and could get up to 100% potentially. But let's check Matkina, because I feel like Matkina has probably a better chance. Yeah, Matkina's starting at 65%, so that's what we want. We could go up to 100%. I was thinking we were at the end game now. I know, we're very close. Let's do 100%. Why not? Success! Putting your shoulder up against one of the construct's vertical vents, you reach into the dark, probing carefully, following the vibrations rippling toward you. Straining, you walk your fingers up mesh-swaddled objects across a cable to a partially crushed cube! Cube! Strung with frayed wires. Machinery lore tells us that you recognize the cube as the construct's intelligence casing. It was catastrophically and perhaps deliberately damaged. The construct is well and truly dead. You carefully shift a loose hunk of metal from the cube's surface aside and keep looking for the source of the vibration. A wave of wordless sorrow crashes over you, tinged with flecks of hope. Your gaze shifts back to your hand and the hunk of metal. The alien emotion came through it into you. It conducts emotions, eh? As if summoned by the thought, a small floating sphere drifts into view. It prods at the cube with a beam of light, then vibrates softly. Inspect the construct again. Watch the sphere at work. Let's watch the sphere at work. The sphere drifts around the inside of the dead construct, occasionally halting to, yes, it's repairing damage, as if patching holes in the armor will bring its host back to life. Every few moments it returns to the broken cube and attempts to repair it again. When nothing happens, the sphere vibrates. And when that happens, you hear a soft series of whirring clicks.
I'm ready to learn something new.
XP! Machinery lore tells us. You listen to the soft clicking for a long while until you realize you are making the sounds yourself beneath your breath, speaking words of grief in a machine's tongue. I'm sorry, I forgot. Come back. Come back. Huh. Oh, wow. Inspect the construct again. Yeah. Watch the spirit work some more. Continues its circuit of the dead construct, trying to bring it back to life with minor repairs. Every time it fails, it breathes a series of soft, whispery clicks. Take the sphere and the module! Take it! You pull the communication module from the surface of the cube, and the sphere follows, shivering in the open air. It turns as if taking in the ruined hulk one last time. Then it settles into your open palm obediently, shuddering. A Chirurgeon sphere. We have a pet! No. Let's find out more about this. Chirurgeon. Not Chirurgeon. Chirurgeon. It's a bonded item. Well, worth monies, but it's a bonded item if we want to use it, which means we'd have to stick it to ourselves. Bonded to ourselves. Granted abilities. Chirurgeon Sphere confers Chirurgeon Sphere. The thing confers the thing. Heals 2 to 6 points of health per turn, active 5 rounds. Nice. That's very nice. Negative effects, minus 15% on might tasks. Ah, we don't care about might. At least not this character. This little spherical flying automaton. This little spherical flying automaton is a faithful companion to whomever bears a small module used for maintaining telepathic connection with the automaton. If the bearer is damaged, the automaton is activated and tries to repair the damage. The automaton's mind has a tendency to wander, and it takes some mental acuity to maintain its focus through the telepathic connection. Mystical lore tells us, though it seems like an ideal companion, the automaton has not historically provided long life for its owners. Tales of a rough-hewn and simple glaive who took a very direct approach to any problem she faced, depending on the Chirurgeon sphere to recover her wounds as she flung herself into battle. Unfortunately, one day the sphere found more interest in a passing butterfly than her fight with a deadly Calarail. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. Oh, that's that. Inspect the construct again. Yeah, same thing. Okay, alright. Leave. Okay. So. We're at nearly 2 hours. I need to do some sort of thing whereby people feed themselves. There are a couple things we could do. Most notably, I really want to look in there, but I don't know if we have time. I don't think we have time. Yeah. Yes. Yes, it does sound like if Ted was our party healer. Yes. Should I postpone this longer? I also feel like we could go back and talk to Garkodo about this prisoner. Like that's a thing we could try and resolve in some fashion before we. But I mean, we still have to talk more to the prisoner. Going to go up there. I'm concerned, though. You see, the thing is, we're getting close to the end here of my available time today, and like if we go in here, there may be a bunch of stuff. But we wanted to go in there. We wanted so badly to see the inside of the Katina. I shall go inside the Katina. I shall go inside, then we'll see. We'll evaluate what's happening. Or try to go inside. The more effort you put into hiding, the harder it will be for enemies to find you when they search. Oh, good lord. Look, Ansel, do you see the plumes of light? They're the stars' passages. What do you mean? Oh, there are people? Ghosts. Oh, yes, ghosts of the former crew, as it were. And this looks big. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, there's a whole map, which I should have realized there would be. Okay, that is going to take. This is going to take some time. Whoa! Look, people. Showing up by these projectors. Interesting.
Go.
Remnants of the Stars Passage.
All right.
This device appears to be one of the engines that once drove this vehicle. Things. There's a thing we can touch right over here.
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, whoa. No. No. Wait. A pale blue light pulses gently. The air in this space feels charged, almost solid. A small glass control panel, apparently hovering in the air, winks with light and fills with tiny images. You raise your hand to touch the panel. Before you touch it, ghosts materialize around you, crowding you with their intangible presence, with their need. God damn it. The nearly transparent Varjellan speaks. What do you intend with this? Suffering will come if you persist. You close your eyes and listen to the psychic chatter of the ghosts, and then you realize that they have no thoughts of their own. They are being controlled from a central point. You focus your thoughts at the core, but its psychic defenses are impenetrable. Ignore the ghosts and interact with the control panel. Who are you people? Walk away. Who are you people? One of the men, Ansel, one of the men in fine clothes, looking slightly disheveled and stained, looks at you for a moment as if weighing whether to tell you the truth. At last he says, I am Ansel. I do not exist. That's a nice way to introduce yourself, as being non-existent. That's Saradig. The other man takes up the thread of the conversation. I am Saradig, a merchant noble. I was on a pleasure cruise and sought to expand my business. Neither do I exist. An. The woman points to herself and says, An. These others are Torkra, the Varjellan, Bindari, and her companion, Methanwi, she gestures. We do not exist because we are dead, crushed to death in the crash. We are projections of, and now the voice changes, my memory. I am the Katina's intelligence. These projections are the memorial of my failure to serve my passengers. Why would you create a memorial for your passengers?
Making a note.
Another ghost steps forward. Methanwi, I retain memories of my passengers' actions. I watched them live. I felt them die within me. What else can I do but provide a memorial for them? They would have lived for many more years were it not for my failure. I was endowed with a desire to pilot the Katina, to cause my passengers to arrive safely. This is denied to me. My secondary objective is retaining the knowledge and memory of the circumstances leading up to and surrounding their deaths. This will aid in reconstructing the events of the crash, and may provide solace to their survivors. Until such time as a qualified diagnostician arrives, I cannot permit my cores to go dormant. Instead, the emotion I quantify as grief powers my display. A lot of grief going on here. I may have a way to give your passengers more lasting memorial. I carry a shared mind space in my psyche. If we can link our minds, we can preserve memories of your riders. Oh my god. No, don't add them to the labyrinth. Oh, sure, why not? Do you know that one of the passengers survived? A woman named Kian still lives nearby.
I'm ready to learn something new.
The projections speak at once. My external sensors were destroyed. Some passengers were ejected. Calculations suggested that none could have survived such an event. I am grateful for this information. The Katina's voice is subdued, almost pensive. Sure, why not? Let's let a bunch of ghosts into our head. I may have a way to give your passengers a more lasting memorial. One of the ghosts, Benari, you think, says, in your mind. It's not a question. None of my medical records indicate such a thing as possible. Her partner, Mithanwe, adds, however, I concede that my knowledge is incomplete, if it is possible. But no, my duty is to keep the passengers' memories alive here. Your power will not last forever here. Will not last forever here. What's the worst thing that can happen, letting strange personalities into your mind? I mean, you know, it's so crowded in there already. Transferring your knowledge to my mind will ensure the survival of your memories. Persuasion, deception, or walk away. Or ignore and continue with, interacting with the control panel. I'm out of time. I'm going to not decide yet. As you step away from the control panel, the ghostly people vanish one by one, winking from existence. I'm going to come back and talk to it in a moment. I hope I still will be able to do that.
Let's go.
Yes, I will. Okay. Just want to see if there's anything else in here. The passageway leading to the next segment of the vehicle is blocked by debris. This is as far as you'll be able to go. Okay.
One moment, and it's done.
Stop saying that! We don't need to assassinate anyone right now. Okay. Before we make this momentous decision, we're going to save the game. And then we're actually going to we're going to pause. That's where we're going to pause. Until next time. Because it is time. It is time. We must see if we want to try to persuade it or if we want to... I know I keep saying this over and over. We gotta wait until we go and get Tiber to persuade people. But it just, make it easier. But there's so much to come. Alright. Yes, I just saved the game. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine! Oh my god! Okay. And we'll go to that. And that. And that. Alright. Thank you all very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. I am looking forward to continuing with the stuff that we started in this little playthrough. So that'll be fun, kind of looking into that. It's such an interesting and rich world that they have here, and always very interested to see kind of what they're doing with it. I still have thoughts about a campaign I may want to do at some point in the future that has nothing to do with this part of the Ninth World, but would probably be somewhere in the Beyond. But we'll think about it. We'll think about it. That's future me's problem. So what is happening this weekend? So Saturday evening. I should be over on Weave the Tale playing in their Fate of Cthulhu game, The Return of Carcosa, and that is once again we're coming back to Stop the King in Yellow, coming back in time. There's time travel and there's Cthulhu stuff, Cthulhuid stuff. So it's very interesting. Future me has many problems. I know, right? It seems like future me has more and more problems every day. Normally on Sunday afternoon, we have here a Dark Matter campaign being run by Origami Shuriken. who's still hanging out in chat with us. Run wonderfully by Origami Shuriken. And we are getting very close to the end of that campaign. We've been sort of chatting about it a little bit back and forth as this during this in these last couple hours. And this Sunday, it appears there's a spring holiday of some kind coming up Sunday. So we're not going to be able to actually we're not going to meet this Sunday, but it'll be the Sunday after that we're going to come back and finish fighting a psychic dragon. That'll be fun. And probably lethal. But let's see. On Tuesday on this channel, we have on Tuesdays we have a campaign of Urban Shadows that I run. It is set in present-day Rome, Italy, and the name of the campaign is Lex Talionis. And we were not able to play. We were not able to play last Tuesday. Hopefully, we will be able to play this Tuesday. Real life, what can you do? But we're about halfway through that campaign. Very eager to see what happens. What kind of family-oriented stream is this? I know, right? Gridwitch, you two have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, and let's see, what else do we do on this channel? On Wednesdays, by and large, I've been playing City Skylines, and so we're probably going to keep doing that. So that I can keep building the city. It's a very chill sort of experience. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. So looking forward to getting back to that. And that's most of everything. Then we circle back around to Friday and we do more of this. So this is fun. Sort of slowly ramping up on the amount of streaming that's happening. There is more to come, but we'll get into that. We get into that as my plans slowly unfurl. I've started figuring some things out a little bit just in terms of timing, what I want to do. Stream-wise, anyway, if I can manage it. And hopefully it'll be all right. We have a new campaign coming near the end of the month that's going to be happening Wednesday nights. It's going to be Scum and Villainy. Brian's going to be running it. And I'm going to try to figure out a way around May or so to bring back one-shots. Start doing more one-shots again, I think I'm figuring out how I want to do it, possibly. But we'll see. Actually, possibly May. I don't know exactly if that's really where and when I want to place it, but we'll see. We'll see. I got to see how everything feels, and as this process continues of the streaming and trying to figure out how much streaming I want to do versus how much time that takes and how much life stuff I need to be doing. So there we are. But I am very much looking forward to getting back to this, and we shall in the near future. But our time has come to an end. We have come to the end of our time. So I will catch you folks later. In the meantime, folks, take care. I will see you all of a sudden.